The globalists are positioning themselves behind you right now. They're going to take your guns, put you in FEMA camps, and make you their slaves. And then late one night when you're drinking their homosexually fortified juice boxes, damn! The black rape begins.
Coming to you from the divided of America.
It's the Bob and Bob Show. Hey, what's up out there, everybody in the cyber world? You are listening to the Bob and Bob Show. Go to bobandbobshow.com. You can catch us all over these crazy platforms out there. And, you know, we're just going to say some stuff that we love to say. And maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but who really cares?
iTunes, Podbean, Spotify.
Yep, all those
Google
places.
Play Music.
And, you know, we got the Bobs here, the bearded one.
iHeartRadio.
Okay, and iHeartRadio's here with us. Or is it Bob?
I'm here.
Okay, bearded one is here. I'm LB. Chops is over here.
Welcome back to us.
And we did take a 2-week break. Sorry about that. You know, we have some things in our lives to deal with, you know, and some serious stuff. So we are back.
I dropped my hot pocket.
And Chops dropped his hot pocket.
I did drop my hot pocket.
Took a long time to deal with that.
Yep. Okay, so
Dude.
What?
We left dude. At some point, Dotson and I at the hotel, we're talking about how hungry we are. Chops is like, yo, I'll be right back. And he shows up at like 4 a.m. with a bunch of Hot Pockets.
Nice. Those were like gold Hot Pockets, too, weren't they? They're like $5 a piece.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where he got them from.
Cents.
He just came back.
But he left out the most important part. What else did I come back with?
I don't remember, man.
Come on. Steaks.
Oh, yeah,
You had
did.
steaks?
He did come back with
Oh,
a
yeah, I
steak.
heard about that.
Yeah, I came back with steaks.
All right, so enough of that little fiasco we had going on last weekend. But, okay.
I dropped my hot pocket.
So we got this guy, Frito Burrito Beto, over here at the Democratic debate saying that, you know, yeah, I want to confiscate weapons. And, you know, he's blaming the AR15 and the AK-47.
He knows nothing about what he's talking about.
I know, but he's saying, you know, weapons of war do not belong in the hands of American citizens. They belong in the hands of law enforcement and military.
Well, law enforcement and military do have them.
I know. I understand that. But here's the problem. If law enforcement and military have them, why can't the American people have them?
That's the whole point. It's a power balance.
Yeah, so if they have the military-style weapons, you know, we need to have them too. Because what if
we need to have
run
the unrestricted right to have them, yeah.
Yeah, well, what if our police run amok? I mean, they're so honorable now, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Super.
So what if...
You suck!
And what if we have some defectos from the military that have PTSD and they go nuts, you know what I mean? Listen, people, here's the real deal.
Crazy people are out there.
Behind every blade of grass here in the United States needs to be a gun.
Here, you know
That's the control. That's the balance of power right there.
But here's the thing: a guy stands there and literally says, "We're coming for your guns," and then he talks about a buyback, and then says something about critics trying to say that is a confiscation. That is exactly what a confiscation is.
Hello.
And for him to stand there and say that that's somehow not what it is pretty retarded, honestly, man.
Well,
I know the whole thing is it's dumb.
He literally
His arguments are very weak.
He said, hell yes, we're going to take your
Right.
AR-15 and
Yeah.
your AK-47
No,
and
you're
blah,
not.
blah, blah,
Right,
blah.
he's all pumped up about it.
I know, yeah, he was really pumped up. And the crowd's like, yay, wow, you know.
Yeah, nobody in that crowd has one, though.
Jesus.
Probably.
You're not going to punish me for something that somebody else did. It's not happening. I'm just going to say that right out the gate.
Well, I know. See, the thing is I hear this, and I'm like, well, this guy just totally bombed. He'll never be president because there's just way too many gun owners here that are going to deal with that.
There's
Right.
a lot of Democrat people that are firearm friendly, too, because they do understand liberty, even though they get caught up in politics, just like right-wing people do.
Well, then I watch these jacknuts on frickin' CNN and all the other, brainwashing news networks, and they're over there saying, like, well, because of these mass school shootings and blah, 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 it seems like the American people are just not responsible.
There's not enough investigation and that there's not enough available information and study and investigation to make any of these claims with any validity concerning school shootings. Because these school shootings are happening. There could be a million different reasons why. We have nothing under study laid out, but it goes right for the gun grab, which That's all that ever gets gone. That's all. That is always the only aim. Is that it always goes right for the gun grab. I can't even talk, man.
They're trying real hard. My mom even was like, "Oh, I don't think that they need these," and I'm like, "Well, listen, why stop at that then? Why not take everything away? Why not take BB guns away, slingshots, everything?
Well,
Just take it all away."
It's not about what your mom thinks they need or what Beto O'Rourke thinks anybody needs. It's none of anybody else's business.
I'm just saying, she's 74 years old and
Right.
she agrees with those. It's
Sure, a lot of
terrible.
people
It's
do.
like, really?
The Second Amendment.
People don't think it through,
The Second
man.
Amendment literally comes down to the balance of power.
Yeah.
Right.
This has nothing to do with your duck hunting, and that's another thing I saw. This morning I seen it. They're on there like, well, you don't need an AR-15 to hunt, And
Why not?
And one person was like, well, some people do use an AR-15 to hunt.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you guys
That's
suck.
all beside the
if
point.
you're hunting with an AR-15, you suck.
Well, they're out there playing with toys, and that's
Yeah.
completely beside the point. That's completely beside the whole point.
They're allowed to.
The point
I mean,
is, we have power mongers that are trying to take away our right to defend ourselves, whether it be whatever it may be. Right now, they're going for rifles that are very good for use in combat because that's pretty much what they were designed for. If we're going to be honest about it, that is what they're for. And
So
Protection
take
is what
away
they were designed for.
these tools of combat, so that if there is any combat on American soil, you can't fight.
well, here's what you
Right,
do.
yeah.
No, here's what you do. You find a sentry that's nodding off. He's not paying attention. And you turtle F him. If you don't have a Kevlar to knock him out with, you take a big piece of wood, break his neck with it, and you take his gun. Now you have a gun.
Right.
Now do it to another one, and you do that until.
well, you got to
you
get
have an
close
army.
enough to that guy with that gun.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's all tactics, partisan, guerrilla, insurgency type stuff that's been around since forever. So, it doesn't matter. The infringement on the right to defense. A gun confiscation, a gun restriction is included in the idea and reality of infringement of sovereign defense from the individual or group of individuals from a form of tyranny.
Well,
So-
see here, listen, they're not looking at it. They're looking at like, these poor children, which it is a
Sure,
sad,
it's horrible.
It's a
It's
sad
tragic.
state of affairs, big time. But here's the thing: if you go to other countries and you hear the way that they discuss how American citizens are armed to the teeth over here,
But they
and
don't
those
even know what they're talking
and
about.
those governments over there too. I mean, think about it. We have like some of the longest wars in history going on. The 18-year war in Afghanistan. We're everywhere. Countries hate us everywhere because we have destabilized their countries, taking their political powers out of power, put our people in there. So now you have tons of different
Well, that's
countries.
not- that's
they
not-
don't like us.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's not us doing that,
Well,
though.
yeah, they don't like our
That's
country.
the establishment that uses the American military.
The United States.
I just want to
of
clarify
everywhere.
Yeah,
that,
I
you
got
know?
it. I got
It's
it.
not,
It's
yeah.
not us. I get it. But at the same time, you have to look at it from the perspective of a lot of these countries are like, wow, maybe they want to invade us. Maybe they want to do something. But there's always that thing in the back of their head. Like these American citizens, they grew up on, they were born in revolution.
Sure.
And they follow a code of defending themselves and private property and right to privacy in general.
It's a nation that was founded under the ideals of liberty as they are laid out under natural law.
Yeah, so if you erode and destroy all of that way of the American civilization here, the population, if you take that away, other countries see that, and now we're open for business for invasion. If you ask me, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because think about Pearl Harbor. I mean, how did they obscure all the warning signs and all the tactics that they use to figure out if somebody's going to invade or
Dude,
not? They just let them in here. It seems like.
First we have
Came
to
flying in.
we have
Everybody's
to-
on vacation.
Yeah, first we have to confirm if Pearl Harbor was even a legitimate attack. We don't even know for sure,
Well-
man. The Gulf of Tonkin is under question. 9/11's under question. We don't even. I mean, we need the facts before we can even draw those conclusions. The way I see it, though, is that it's more of an establishment power grab over the citizenry of this nation than it is like another sovereign nation, whether or not they're a part of an international coalition or the UN or whatever. With their eyes on invading U.S. soil, I don't really see that being part of a campaign to disarm American citizens. I see the American government and the establishment that controls it as the driving force and the ambition to disarm American citizens.
Well, I refuse to watch these idiot Democratic debates because it's just it's a freaking dog and pony show. It's ridiculous. They're a bunch of clowns up there, and they got their talking points, and they're over there, bitching and moaning about this and that and the other. We need free health care. We need to take away the guns. We need to do this. We need to do that. And you know what? It's the same thing on the other side of the aisle. They just kind of change it differently and pick different problems.
It's always about taking control
So
of
what
sectors.
everybody wants to hear is all they have to say.
Yeah,
Well, they want to get voted.
That's exactly what happens.
They want to get voted in. That's all it is.
Well, this is a brainwashing technique from our political establishment, from our mainstream whore media, and because
That's my girlfriend.
they're whores to the establishment, and they do whatever they say because their corporate sponsors will not let them say the right thing.
It's like Philip Mouth with farts.
Yeah, same thing.
No matter what Philip Mouth with farts wants to do, if it goes in conflict with his campaign contributors, sorry, folks. Got to go with where the money is.
Yeah, and if you listen to these guys, it's crazy because they're stomping and they're smacking their hands on the desks and they're like
Very performative.
Yeah, they're so I'm gonna do something.
He ain't going to do nothing.
I'm aggressively talking, so I'm gonna do it well.
Beto, somebody should Beto him over the head with a board. Just ironically, instead of an AR-15, right? You know what, man? If he wants to get the boogaloo started, that's probably a pretty good way to do it.
Put your dancing shoes
Push for
on.
mandatory buybacks and red flag confiscations across the board.
I didn't look at the statistics on new gun sales, but I bet you it went up again.
It always
Right.
does,
Yeah.
dude.
So he just really gave a nice boost to the
He doesn't get
gun
to
economy.
decide. He does not
Thank
get
you.
to decide what everybody can or can't own because of the acts of a few deranged people that still that there are still a lot of questions about, including the Vegas shooting, the Dayton shooting. Some of these guys were too good at what they did, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
think about it.
questioning a lot of this stuff.
If it was like the Wild West and everybody had a gun on their
but
hip,
that's a myth.
if it was like the Wild West and everybody had a gun on their hip, how far do you think they would have gotten before somebody shot them?
A lot of that's
You
a
know
myth,
what I
though,
mean?
dude.
What's
Yeah,
a myth?
somebody would have shot him right away, probably.
Yeah. If everybody's got a gun on their hip, he's not going to shoot too many
Well, and a
people
lot
before
of
he gets
times they
shot.
don't. But the Vegas shooter.
Hypothetically, bearded Bob,
Well, listen
if
here.
it was hypothetically like the Wild hypothetical West, hypothetically he would have got shot a lot sooner.
I understand what you're saying. I agree with that.
Thank you.
The Vegas shooter, he was like 200 yards away in some window. People couldn't even
was
tell where it was
sniping?
coming from. That
Yeah.
was way too well
Yeah.
planned, dude. But here, check this out, man. The Wild West, a lot of that is spaghetti western stuff. It wasn't really like that. If you were out on the frontier, yeah, there was no law. You could take your guns wherever you go. As
you
soon
go
as
to Arizona, there's still everybody has a gun on their hip.
sometimes, but
Places
that's
like
even.
that.
But in I'm talking about in towns and stuff.
Yeah.
You can do that now, and you couldn't then. You had to check your guns, like
yeah, when you
as
came
soon
into
as you
town.
came into town.
Yeah, some towns were like that.
Because
Yeah.
they didn't want shootouts and
Right.
freaking all that's
Yeah.
TV stuff.
Well,
dude.
hypothetically, if everybody didn't have to check their gun in, he would have got shot. All right. Why did you have to destroy that story? All
I
was
didn't
saying is,
destroy it.
If
I
everybody
agree
had a
with you.
gun, he'd have got
All
shot.
right, so
I'm just talking over you. That's
still
all.
on the gun topic here, and this is something that I've been, when Walmart said that they were not gonna or sell any of these weapons anymore,
I want
these
to
military
say one,
style.
I want to say one thing real quick.
What?
That OK Corral shooting with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp and all that. That was over a couple cowboys that refused to turn their guns in. That's how that shooting happened.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
law
no
enforcement was like, "Yo, turn your guns in," and they were like, "I got guns for you to turn in." Pow, pow, pow.
Pow, 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 pow. Take my 6-shooter.
Well, still on the whole, corporate. This is where you see corporations and governments start coming together, which they already are. It's a corporatocracy, but Walmart immediately starts stating after the last shooting that they're not going to sell this ammunition, this gun, whatever they choose is going on right now, which is fine. They're allowed to not sell whatever they want.
Yeah, I agree with
Walmart sold ARs?
No,
Not anywhere around here.
I think they're selling 223s and rounds and.
Oh.
I think they
other
sold
stuff.
some ammo in some places.
Yeah,
Right.
whatever. And
It depends on where you're at.
Well, that's their
Yeah.
response into the shooting situation here.
Sure.
Okay, sure, you're a company, that's fine, you can do that. But now what happens is, and I said this before, that other companies are going to start following suit.
Sure.
And eventually, if you get enough companies on board with this, you're not going to be able to purchase a weapon. And we do know that
That's the frog in the boiling pot,
yeah,
man.
you can still get weapons and all that stuff. It just won't be as easy as it is, now, apparently.
That's
which,
the whole point,
Which
right?
it's really not easy to get a weapon right now. I mean, there is crazy background checks. They
Right.
do want to talk to everybody, so quit it with that.
It's
Right.
easy to get a weapon, but that's not even the point either, man.
Well, so now we have chief executives of, I think it's over 145 companies now that are urging the Senate to pass these gun control laws. And these gun control laws go into the red flag realm.
Right.
And that's where you can, call on your neighbor and they can go over there and take their guns because they're crazy because
Turns
you
in-
said so.
Turns into a Salem witch trial.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're urging the Senate to, get these gun laws going and stuff. And these are large corporations. What do you mean you're urging them? Are you like saying you're not going to
They're paying them off. They're
right.
bribing them is what they're doing.
You're not going to get your political contributions if you don't sign this bill.
I have $300,000 that says you want gun control.
So
Here it is.
some
It
of the
smells good.
Some of the CEOs come from like Uber, Levi, Gap, Lyft, and Beyond Meat. I don't know what Beyond Meat is. That's probably like
It's probably somewhere past meat.
yeah, it's probably not even meat. It's beyond what
It's
meat
that
really
fake
is.
meat.
It's the fake meat. So, I mean, these are companies that are falling in line, and it's gonna keep going on and on.
Well, there are
because-
companies that have a CEO board that is politicizing their own. They're using their own corporate reach to get their own personal ends through politically.
Well, at one point in our American history, this would have never ever happened.
It would have been illegal.
There would be people who don't like guns, but the major thing in the United States is guns, and we want them, and it's not up for debate.
Right. It's a Second Amendment, so it was pretty important back then, even.
Yeah. So, but now this is where the brainwashing comes into play. That I wouldn't call it MK Ultra because that's more like drug induced.
There was a lot of different MKs. MK Ultra was an umbrella over some of the
Right.
others. There was
But
a whole bunch of them.
This is where they keep repeating the same stuff over and over and over,
Yeah.
and they find
commercial.
So when
Download.
here's what happens is when they keep repeating this stuff, people start to believe it.
Yeah.
And they're just not intelligent enough to look at it as a broad spectrum analysis.
They're not.
They can't look at it
They're
right.
not analytical enough.
Yeah, they're like
critical
they're
enough.
like kids died, get rid of them. It's the gun's fault. No,
Right.
it's not the shooter's fault. I was watching Dave Chappelle.
When cops do it, they don't blame the gun.
Yeah, well, I was watching Dave Chappelle's new stand-up or whatever. Have you seen it yet?
No, but
Oh,
I'm sure I
it's
can
crazy.
pick out all the stuff he talks about.
It's crazy. He's
had enough, dude.
Yeah, he has had enough. And he was talking about Ohio, land of the white person heroin addict or something,
Yeah.
because he lives down by Dayton or something.
He's not wrong.
I don't know, but he was talking about the guns, and he's talking about the drugs, and he's talking about white people, he's talking about racism.
White people.
He was everywhere, and he talked about him buying his first shotgun. He didn't know what it was.
I gotta watch it.
Hey,
It sounds great.
It's
I love
crazy
Chappelle.
that if you can say I'm a proud white man, that's people say that's racist, but I'm a proud black woman is power.
That's part of
you know
the
what I mean? What the heck is
inconsistency.
that?
Yeah, well, this is how you kind of destabilize races, I guess. You get the whites.
It's inconsistent logic, man.
Yeah.
It's because people don't think rationally, man.
Well, this continues to go on throughout everything that you see on TV, everything that you hear on the radio. You have dumb crap like Rover's More in Glory. Rover saying, I'm more scared of getting shot in Walmart than.
Dude, you know how much chance.
Boy, you are upset about that statement.
Here's why.
Past month.
Here's why. Because he's not afraid of a tyrannical government, although he lives under one already, okay? But he's too dumb to see it, like you said.
Right.
And statistically, for him to end up as even to be present during a mass shooting, like the Vegas thing or the Walmart thing or any of the schools or whatever, he has... I'll have to dig out where I got this information, but I was looking into it and did a bunch of math on it and stuff. He has a 0.00008% chance to be involved in a mass shooting in any way.
That's a legal limit.
You know what I'm saying?
What, for alcohol consumption?
Yeah.
So
That's 0.08, brother.
it's pretty dumb. I mean, I'm not sure if the guy is known for his powers of logic and intelligence or not.
No,
but
he's not. But I have
he's got
heard,
a huge platform.
Yeah, and that's the issue, because if
His
you're
listeners aren't going to be that
Huge
bright either, I'm
platform.
sure.
Well, this
'cause
is-
of the bell curve. It's how it goes.
This is where the manipulation comes into play, because there's a lot of people who they go to Roverfest and they listen to him every day and all that stuff. And if he keeps repeating this bull crap,
Right.
they're going to start believing it.
I'm not saying all of his listeners are dumb. I'm saying enough of them are. It's just that's the law of averages, man.
Yeah. Well, what, you want me to throw that in the toilet or something?
All his
I know
stuff.
you love Rover.
I do. I love Rover.
See what I mean?
Yeah. See, this is what we got to deal with.
Yeah. I think he's hilarious.
I think some of the stuff is funny, but
Yeah.
when you go against American freedoms like that, and you're training people to believe that there is no tyrannical government, and you will get shot in a school before a tyrannical government will do anything to you.
You're more likely to get shot by a cop than you are to get shot by, a mass shooter.
Well, That's the brainwashing technique.
Right.
Like the space repetition. AR-15, 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 223 round, 223 round.
If they're
School
so
shooting,
dangerous.
school shooting. Say it over and over and over, and it's like a big mass problem. You got to worry about this. They got kids. They're giving them training. They'll duck under their desks and hide all over
toilet
the place.
paper at them.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
fear
Well,
propagation.
Dave Chappelle was like, you know what? You're training all these kids on what they're supposed to do if an active shooter situation
You're teaching
happens.
the shooter what
You're
to
teaching
do.
the shooter what to do.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
He's in there with you.
Right.
So he's going to come in there. He's going to do his shoot. He's going to run right to where you told the kids to hide, you dummy.
Nothing about all this is like is well put together. Oh, and nothing about it is rational or intelligent enough to actually meet the goal that they're going for. And that's why I gripe about it constantly.
Yeah.
Because it's the wrong approach, it's the wrong plan. What they're doing is they're perpetuating a problem, propagandizing it, and making it worse. And it's not because they're too stupid. It's because that's the whole point. And the public at large is too stupid to call it out.
Yeah.
Some of us will.
A lot of people who are smart enough to understand what's happening and they know that this is a joke, they don't say anything. They don't do anything. So you have all these millennials, and I'm not going to classify every millennial as a dumb, idiot gun grabber, because they're not, you know what I mean?
Well,
But-
the whole perception of firearms in general over the last few generations, it's really come to a head in this generation after us, the millennials, because we're late stage Generation X,
Right.
And the shift of how people have viewed firearms has changed greatly because of the way they're raised around them now, or not raised around them now. As
yeah, I
compared
think
to how
they're
it
not
was
raised around them.
down on the farm or in rural areas. It's a completely different outlook and a completely different set of values because it's the highly urbanized settings that tend to be so easily socialized and washed into a certain.
Well, if every
Corral.
if every information source that people get to view or listen to on a daily basis is consistently pushing this gun grabber stuff, this red flag stuff, and they're talking about how we don't need weapons all the time, or at least not these military-style weapons. If they constantly keep pushing this, people start to buy it.
Of course they do.
And when they start to buy it, then they can move the legislation in that's already there.
Yeah.
And then people are going to support it.
The laws that are already there aren't being enforced.
Yeah. So
I make that argument, and then I call out which laws they are, and people are like, "I already knew that, but that's not good enough." And I'm like, "You're not listening to me. It is not being enforced."
Right. Well, it can be. If somebody does something crazy enough, if something stupid, some event that happens in that whole realm right there, that whole little circle, they're going to cut off all your rights.
Yeah.
And they're going to come in there with the military. They're going to do whatever they want. But no, that'll never happen in the United States. We're land of the free, home of
It's
the
happened
brave.
here a bunch of times.
Bunch of idiots, dude, because it can happen. It has happened.
Yeah.
And it looks like if you look at all the warning signs, the next time it happens might be a bad situation.
It happened in 1776, man.
So, well, you choose, try to stop mass school shootings, okay? It's such a bad situation that this happens, okay? And Dave Chappelle's like, it's the white kids
School
that are doing
shootings are
it.
still going to happen if you get rid of AKs and ARs. I hate to say it, but they're still going to happen.
Yeah, they'll just use a 9mm.
Right.
They'll use a little revolver 22.
Dude, there's
I mean,
all kinds of shootings that are done with like Glocks and whatnot, whatever, or shotguns. They just don't get the politicians going on the assault weapons grab because the establishment wants the weapons that are made for combat out of our hands because they want to control us without us shooting back. So
Yeah.
and I guess we'll shoot back with that other stuff too, but I don't know, man. There's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do.
Oh,
There's
let's
nothing
just
you can
say, okay, first off, let's say
There's nothing the government can do.
Let's say there's an all-out ban. We're coming for your guns. All right, so who's going to stack up on these people's front doors?
Who's going to start?
Yeah, and who's going to stack up and go into these houses? Are these cops going to do that? Because I know tons of them have said they're not going to do that. That is very
They'll
dangerous.
splinter.
Right.
So, yeah, there are going to be some of those,
The military will
gung-ho,
splinter too, man.
gung-ho, flat-top having cops that are going to go in there, whatever. Sure, you're going to get shot. So, all right, this goes on for, I don't know, a couple years, let's say.
It'll
Big
be
war
brother
breaks out.
against brother, dude.
Yeah, and then a big war breaks out. How long do you think it's going to take to get rid of these guns?
They're not going to be gotten
You would
rid
never.
of.
It'd probably take like 50 years.
You know what's going to happen?
and you still
Never.
don't get rid of
Because
them.
there will still be guns there because the guys that are the government guys are going to have guns. And every time a government guy gets robbed or killed, those guns end up in the hands of the insurgents or patriots or whatever you want to call them. I guess it depends on your perspective, right?
Americans.
So the guns aren't going anywhere. Even if you try to ban them, they're not going anywhere.
Nope.
Because if you're going to try to take them away by force, you're going to be met with force. and it's going to get really ugly. A lot of people. There's going to be a lot more violence than any of these purple hairs ever thought that even conceived could happen, because most of them are so ignorant about how things go down in the world. In reality,
as soon as that confiscation, as soon as it starts happening, and they start going into houses and kicking down doors with no-knock raids, people are going to start forming factions. They're going to be going to their neighbors. They're all going to be meeting down in the valley, down by the creek.
An intelligence war will start. There will be an espionage faction. There will be double agents in law enforcement and the military and in the civilian world. It'll be just like a real war, because it will be a real war.
And the military is going to have a real big problem, because they're going to be flying their drones around trying to find these illegal gun orders and
there
all that
will be
stuff.
somebody,
and they're going to be defecting from the military.
Yeah.
They're going to be leaking information. They're going to be intentionally not going after certain people. The military will not be able to function because they're not going to go after their own people.
There will be somebody in a rebel faction that has enough money and is willing to use it to turn somebody in, say, the Air Force to hand over a list of names of drone pilots so they can go kidnap their families.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how war works.
Yeah. I don't think these Democrats or whatever, the left, is really understanding. They're just like, let's just take these guns. We got to save these kids. You start that war, you pieces of dog dung. More kids are going to die. More families are going to die.
There will be more guns, because that's usually where war goes.
Yeah, those
right?
3D printers are going to fire up. You know what I mean?
No, the government is going to have guns taken.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to get
tanks.
stolen. All that. They'll
Give
get
me a
taken
tank.
right out through battle pickups, and they'll be taken through, shipment interceptions. Just like they do in any other war. It'll be more guns it'll be more guns in Somalia. You don't even know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. None of us want that, and that's why we're not going to give up that right, because we don't want to live under that model. It's not happening.
No, it's not. And the brainwashing, it is so thick. It is so just in your face every day, all the time, in commercials. I mean, they're constantly trying to steer your perception of reality.
Sheepdogging.
Yeah, and they're trying to get you to, pick a gender, because you can pick anyone you want. You get rid of the guns because you don't need them. Take this pill, take that pill, do this, do that. And they're literally forming your opinion for you.
Are we going to play Beto Bandito?
Beto, I don't know. Maybe we can play him in the second half.
We're
or
almost
whatever.
close.
Yeah, I know. So, we do have a halfway point coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, I
got to
say, it is really aggravating to hear what that guy says.
Yeah, here.
too,
How about we just do that real quick? Right before the half?
We can, I guess.
All right, here you guys. Here's Beto in the Democratic debate talking about taking your stuff.
You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. The critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am. If it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield, if the high impact, high velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your body, because it was designed to do that so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Congressman, thank you.
Yeah. See, he pulls on the heartstrings right away.
Well,
Right,
he
yeah.
says we don't want it to be used against your fellow Americans anymore. So unless this gun confiscation is going to happen with, I don't know, unicorn horns or something, I don't know how he's going to have...
Alien technologies.
Yeah.
Pig's feet.
How is he going to confiscate everybody's weapons without using weapons? That's what I want to know.
Good luck.
And he's
wants
talking about punishing everybody in the nation. Everybody.
Well, he's
in
saying-
the nation about something that a few
Yeah,
people
he says
did.
the military and the law enforcement still get to have them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
course.
there you
So
are.
everything the military and law enforcement do is perfectly justified and okay.
Yeah,
they
and-
don't ever step on people's rights or commit any crimes.
No,
against
they're
people.
perfect. They do their
Okay.
job perfectly, and there's no problems
I'm
with any of
definitely
them.
voting for Beto. He makes perfect sense.
I mean, the military, doesn't take orders and go over and destabilize countries just
Yeah.
for oil and money and power
Right.
and stuff. They don't do that.
Right.
They really go fight for freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to mention all of them that come back and get PTSD and find out that they're not fighting for freedom.
Right. Going crazy.
So we're at the halfway point. Check this out. We're going to get into more manipulation and commercials. This is Lee Camp. He has a redacted show on RT.
He's
Check
wrong
it
about
out.
the bullets, too, by the way.
Yeah.
For an 80-year lifespan, we watch 15 and a half years of television on average. 15 and a half years of having our brains liquefied and sodomized, and zombified, and then glorifying products and nonsense. And that screws with us, because advertisements are assholes. They're assholes. Imagine if an advertisement were just a regular guy walking up to you on the street, just going, hey, you, hey, if you wore these jeans, then the hot girls would really do you. I mean like hot girls, not that ugly broad you call a girlfriend. And by the way, could you mention to her that she needs to lose a little weight and do something about her hair? And she could do it too if she would just use these diet pills and this hair gel. And by the way, both of you guys should probably be smoking these cigarettes and drinking this beer. Then you'd be really cool. Although your teeth are looking a little yellow, but we can fix that if you would just use this tooth whitening shit. And then the hot girls would really do you. And by the way, are you happy with your penis size? If you are, that's cool. A lot of guys are happy with fun size. Is that what you call that? Fun size? A lot of girls like that. I mean, I haven't met any, but I bet there are some. But if you change your mind, all you have to do is take a couple of these babies, and soon you would have to call up guys to help you carry your junk around like a train on a wedding dress. But how are you going to call your junk carriers with that crappy phone you got there? You should be using this phone with the swipey bullshit technology that makes other people feel like they're better than you just by owning this phone. And they are. They are better than you. Oh my God, all this stuff you need and don't have is making me anxious. Is it making you anxious? Is it? Are you anxious now? Are you? Well, then all you'd have to do is take a couple of these, and in 2 weeks' time, you would feel better than anything. Plus, bonus side effect, these pills also make your ass hair shiny and more manageable with extra bounce. Anyway, I gotta go, because your girlfriend just decided she looks pretty good in a vintage dress, and I gotta turn that around quick before she stops taking the Ambien Prozac cocktail I gave her, and then she'll stop shopping continuously in order to fill the void created by self-hatred, created by me. Would you hang out with that guy?
Yeah, so like I was saying before,
Gross.
right before the half, you know, this gun debate, these political puppets up there, they're doing the same thing that commercials do to you too. They are using that space
Bombarding
repetition,
you.
and just nailing you with all this stuff.
Download.
Yeah,
Bob
telling
and
you to
Bob
do this
show.
stuff over and over and over again. And the more they repeat it, the more you believe it, and that's how it goes. You see this stuff flashing across your screen, and you're like, "Wow, look at that! Look at this! Oh yeah, I do feel ugly. You know, I
We're
need this."
so many generations.
Right.
In. Did you know that Listerine used to be a household cleaner and floor cleaner? Listerine.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And
I
they
know
know.
that
started.
either.
The only reason it's a mouthwash is because they started marketing it as one, using shaming, like you have bad breath. Is your husband not talking to you? You have bad breath. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Is
should
your
see these ads.
smile broken and yellow, and you can get new teeth in 2 days? You know what I mean?
This I
Here's
have.
Pine Sol. Wash your mouth with Pine Sol. It's a new thing.
There's something bothering me about what Beto said, because as usual, when it comes to technical knowledge, politicians usually are totally ass backwards. It's bugging me, so I'm going to say it. He's talking about the bullets, high velocity. What else did he call them? High velocity is a thing, but high impact, whatever. I don't know where he's trying to go with that, what he's trying to say. But the Geneva Convention, military bullets, they're full metal jacketed. They're not hollow point. They're full metal jacket. It's a lead core or a steel core if it's a armor piercing, and it's covered with a copper jacket. The reason for that is for maximum penetration. It's so it hits something and it zips through it. It does not expand in the body. High velocity rounds like the M16, the 5.45 or 5.56, they tumble a lot of times inside a body or something and can do some damage, but it's a full metal jacket bullet. If you hit like a piece of plywood or concrete with it, the jacket will come right off because it's high velocity.
Well,
Okay, but here's the thing. They are not made for maximum damage. They're not. Hollow points and soft points and stuff, like hunting bullets, the bullets that police use, those are made for maximum impact, expansion, and tissue damage.
Wow.
Those are
Hollow
illegal
points.
in the military. Those are illegal. They're not illegal domestically. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well,
it's international law, dude.
He's not going to be president. He just ruined everything for himself, so that's how that's going to go.
He's inconsistent and stupid. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
There you go, buddy.
Well, there's some of the manipulation, dude, because I'm trying to do this comparison between how your commercials and these politicians are pretty much the same thing in the end. They're all trying to sell something.
And they don't necessarily know what they're talking about or even have what's good for you. They just want you to buy whatever they're selling.
Yeah. So, like with commercials, they offer a bunch of these different choices, but the choices all lead to the same conclusion. So you got all these idiots standing up there on stage griping and yelling about all these different situations, but it all leads to the same thing. It's a total control. It's either it's going to be a socialist control or it's going to be, I don't see a democratic control happening. But
democratic control is silly.
Yeah, that's silly
it's
too.
almost impossible to achieve.
But, that's some of it. They use the same phrase frequently and they repeat it over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And that's that space repetition thing to get people to start believe it. And when you pull on somebody's heartstrings like that,
this isn't
that's how you get some followers. When you I got a kid, he's in school or she's in school, and
this
I don't
stuff
want
is
that
all
to happen.
tested theory. I mean, scientists have done research on the efficacy of all this. We're not making this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I might talk to online, and they tell me it's bull when I talk about that stuff. And I'm like, no, it's how you were taught in school to memorize what's 2 + 2.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I used to do some advertising. I used to do car commercials on the radio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And before I started getting started real in depth with that, I did research because that's what I do. I don't just jump into something and start doing it.
You're the only person I've ever met that has actually gone through the trouble of getting vaccine inserts and examining them with a highlighter.
Yeah, dude. Right. Look right in front of you. Perfect example.
Well, this is how everybody should be because, you're getting fed a bunch of lies, or are they not lies? The only way you're going to find out is by objectively looking at everything from a different perspective. Step out of your little shell and look into it. And I'm like, well, they're bashing vaccines left and right, so I want to know why.
Right.
I'm reading these articles and all this crap. I'm like, okay, they're saying this about the chemicals that are in there and the mercury and all those other preservatives and stuff. I'm like, okay, so I read it in an article. Let's go get the inserts. I want to actually see it, you know? Then I start seeing stuff about baby fetus stuff and all that other crap, you know? I'm like, wow, that's not a joke, you know?
It's the fetus that beat us.
Then you get into what kind of lawsuits have been filed against companies, vaccine companies, and different governments that are forcing them on people.
Yeah.
And, they're paying out billions in damages.
Yeah. Well, so
we can get into all that some other time. We'll have Dr. Scott back on.
Yeah, we got to have him back on. Back to the advertising situation. I dug in. I started looking. I actually found some stuff on YouTube, and I go through every channel I can possibly find, and it's always about flash imaging, space repetition, catchy melodic jingles that keep you occupied in your brain, and you like the music bed behind it.
I think
Get
it
it
might
stuck
be
in your head.
Yeah.
mentally retarded.
Yeah.
Commercial.
A nice
commercial.
jingle?
Commercial.
By Menon.
Yeah.
What are you gonna
all that
pick?
stuff.
Hot Pockets.
But then there's it's like it gets down to some technical stuff like when are you going to run this ad? You got to run it during peak hours. You got to run it for 6 months straight, or a year straight.
Run it during rush hour in Atlanta.
Yeah, you got to continually keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and then people eventually are like, that's the only thing they know.
Right.
So when they come to a situation where they're like, wow, I got a hemorrhoid, it's been bothering me forever. You go to the same hemorrhoid commercial that's been on there. So what are you looking for when you go to Wally World, Walmart?
I heard about your swollen colon. Raymond's here to help.
When you have that not so fresh feeling.
What's that?
I heard about your wrecked up rectum. Raymond's here to help.
Yeah. What's funny? What's that one Pepto-Bismol commercial? You got nausea,
Upset
heartburn.
stomach, heartburn, diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
That's my favorite.
But it's funny to me, dude. So I
That's the point.
The thing is I don't use Pepto-Bismol. I take probiotics. I take shots of apple cider vinegar. If I really have bad indigestion, I will actually eat raw ginger, and that always helps me.
Yeah.
And it's natural. Screw dumping a bunch of pink stuff in your belly.
Well, you've chosen to look around at what just bigger than what a commercial is showing you.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say
It's always a brand.
I did use Pepto-Bismol back in the day because I didn't pay attention. So.
Check this out. I have another example of that. It gets pretty sneaky, dude. Like the gun guys. We're talking about guns today. Gun guys out there. You might know about like the Springfield 1A or the Springfield 1911s that are out there. The XD. It's a handgun. All kinds of guns by Springfield. In Genova, I think it's called Genova, Illinois. It's Springfield with the two crossed cannons. Everybody, all the gun guys know it's Springfield.
Right.
It's like an iconically American gun manufacturer. It's not in any way tied to the Springfield Armory in Springfield, Massachusetts. That George Washington handpicked this location for some logistical reasons. I don't need to get into all the history of this, but Springfield Armory was where iconic American guns like the Springfield 1903 rifle and all of its variants, the trapdoor Springfields, the Springfields the 1865, 1861, 1863 patterns, all that stuff we used in the Civil War, the M1 Garand from World War II, the M1 carbine, the BARs, 1911s, all this stuff that were iconic American guns through a couple of centuries, actually, that were developed, invented, perfected in Springfield Armory, owned by the U.S. government, funded by tax money in Springfield, Massachusetts. And then sometimes other companies, after Springfield figured out how to perfect these things, they would farm it out to other companies to manufacture or whatever. But that's the legendary Springfield. It is not in any way tied to Springfield Firearms in Genova, Illinois. Somebody trademarked the Springfield name, and it is associated, falsely associated, loosely associated with Springfield Armory. It's not connected. It's not the same
why are
thing.
you telling us this?
Because a lot of people don't know.
And
They see Springfield. Most of Springfield's sales are probably because of that name.
So are they on the chopping block here for the Democrats? Are they trying to chop these guys off too?
Well, I
or
mean,
what?
they're a gun manufacturer in the United States. I'm just saying, when you go buy a Springfield XD and it looks all official and governmental and stuff, it looks like it is not the same Springfield that Grandpa's M1 came from. You just think it is because nobody told you it's not.
Well, why?
Well, you just did.
Right, but nobody knows, dude. It's not the same. The
Thank
only
you.
thing they have in common is that name, and it's because some businessman trademarked it after the Springfield Armory was shut down.
Well, they're going after the AR-15 and the AK-47. How many of these shootings has the AK-47 been involved in?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I haven't heard that
According to the FBI,
too many times.
According to the FBI, about 25% of mass shootings being 4 people getting shot in any one event. That's the FBI's definition of a mass shooting. 25% of those in the United States are committed by rifles. Those are all rifles, not just AK-47 or AR-15 or variants.
So they're going to be going after.
It's a very small.
Is an Uzi a rifle?
I'm not sure how they have it classified. Probably yes.
Because that's a really gnarly weapon. It's not very
It can
accurate.
be, yeah.
It's not very accurate.
No, well, it can be, but yeah.
That's a gnarly little
It's
weapon.
not made
there.
for accuracy. It's made for hot power up close.
Yeah.
Bow.
Yeah. So they're not going after that one. That one's a lot more angry than an AR-15, I would say.
Right.
Maybe
I mean,
mass
don't they-
shooters
some
are
of
to
the
start
Tech
with that.
9.
Don't some of them
Tech
have
9s are nasty,
Don't
too.
they have like a 9mm round, the Uzi?
Yeah.
They make 45 Uzis too.
I mean, so what's a? So they're crying about a 223 in comparison to a 9mm.
Well,
or
that's a totally different weapons class. A 223 round is an intermediate, like combat infantry round. A 9mm is a pistol round. You'll find them side by side sometimes in situations, but they are not ballistically very similar at all, man. They'll both kill you.
Oh yeah, all of them. You can get killed by any of
An
them.
airsoft gun will kill you.
Yeah, get it right
in the right ear
right
hole,
in the
yeah.
eyeball.
Yeah. Bloop.
Get it.
Done for.
So,
right in the bing boing.
I mean, the whole gun thing, we've been talking about it on our show for a long time. I think we're just like talking in circles a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Every once in a while we come up with a couple new things, but I mean, really, Beto is not going to be
Beto got
present.
it going this time,
Yeah,
man.
he ain't going to happen for him.
Bandito
And,
the burrito, Frito.
yeah, so
Frito burrito.
You're
Beto in the head with a board.
You're worried about guns, but here's an article with AI synthetic brains that will
Right.
allow humans to be in 500 places at once.
Yeah,
Right.
but AR-15 is the dangerous stuff.
Yeah. So guess what? You're not going to be one of those humans that are going to be in 500 places at once. It's going to be law enforcement, military, political people, FBI, CIA.
Dude, the CIA's
Yeah,
been
that's
working on
crazy.
stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, dude. And we've talked about this. I don't know how many freaking
Dude, there's a
times.
guy.
Clones, yeah.
I forgot his name, man. I wish I had written something down. There's a guy that he died mysteriously and is buried in an unmarked grave. They had to get rid of this dude, but They got him to the point where he could, like, they could give him a map coordinate, a longitude, latitude, and he could sit down. I'm talking like 1,000 miles away from this location. He doesn't know what this location is. He will sit there and draw on a piece of paper what his visions are of that location, and it will be very, very similar to what's at that location, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with technology and science and all this stuff really taking off really well, but I have a problem with us not being able to get a hold of it and it being used against us.
Right.
That's my problem, and the whole humans merging with machines thing. I get it. I mean, I would like some bionic arms or something.
Tools are tools. It can all be used for or against. But when the government is working on something, it's for the benefit of whoever is charging them or not contracting. Like, I can't think of the word. Whoever's commissioning them to work on this stuff. It's to their benefit, and it probably has nothing to do with the benefit of the American people. It has to do with the benefit of like an intelligence operation or something. It's not, their national security thing can be a thing too, and that. But the thing is, our government is compartmentalized in a manner to where the intelligence sector of it isn't necessarily in line with some other points of the establishment, and they fight against each other a lot, and a lot of times it's against the interests of the American people.
It's always against the interest of
most
us.
of the time, because it's always at our expense, and I don't even just mean in dollars.
Well,
man.
they love to keep.
I mean in our liberty and our sovereignty as individuals.
How much freedom can they take before people are actually going to do something about it?
I don't know. We're podcasting about it, so I don't know.
I mean, there's tons of other podcasts and radio shows that are all about it.
Sure,
and they're trying to push it, but that's only one. That's only one realm of it. There's like. In your individual local government, you have to say something.
There's some of those. You know what local government's focused on? They're focused on things like, no, you can't turn that cornfield into a subdivision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that local government.
Potholes on the street.
Yeah. Like this politician just took a ton of campaign money from this building company, and now he wants to put a subdivision in Old Man Dotson's cornfield. The rest of the citizens love the quaint little small town thing, so the answer is no. Your zoning request is denied, but they're going to fight with it with money. That's what local guys are doing, man. They're not looking at, national gun grab policies or liberate sex workers.
Well, there's Skynet coming. It is Skynet, the whole AI movement. It is, you got Common on his commercials like AI is the future, and they're like, piss off, dude. You have no idea what you're doing. You're getting paid to be on that stupid commercial, and you're brainwashing the people, just like LeBron James, dumbass.
AI is going to happen. How it happens is what we need to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like it's.
See, all they got to do is, and they're doing it, is keep us spinning in circles, crying about race and gender and guns.
Being woke. Being woke. Whenever someone says they're woke, I know they are absolutely not even close to the book I'm looking in, man.
Right, because you don't say woke. First off, it's I'm awake.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're woke, you've been watching too much MTV and you think racism is a major issue. For everybody.
Speaking of
That's
racism,
not just a high school kid or whatever.
Speaking of racism, we have this Swedish rapper calling for white people to be shot, and he's not even Swedish; he's Nigerian. Here we go. Didn't the Nigerians that did the whole schmullet thing?
I think so.
Weren't they Nigerians too?
I think so.
What is going on over there in Nigeria?
Maybe we
man?
need to ban Nigerians. I don't know. Nigerian rifles, maybe.
I can't even. This rap artist, his name is Jesse Inike Nwiki Gawogbo Gabugaboo or whatever. I don't know what his name is, but he made these comments on a rant he posted on his Instagram saying it's a blacks only Instagram, and we blacks
kind of like BET.
We blacks will become number one and take over these whites, he said, and then adding things like these whites took us as slaves, we should take them as slaves and treat them even worse. Like this guy, I mean, whatever.
It's a hilarious statement, but I mean, dude, the slave trade didn't work like that, man. It's so much.
This is an ignorant rapper.
Let a white guy say something like that, boy. End of the world, then.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a Nigerian, Swedish.
Rapper. There's an active slave trade right now where blacks are trading blacks, just like they did 300 years ago, and the Arabs have been doing it for 1,000 years too. But I don't know. Let's talk about the far western, slave trade 300 years ago and 150 years ago and just stick to that instead of the real facts. I don't know. It's stupid.
Well,
it's dumb talk. It's dumb talk from dumb schooling, man.
Yeah, well, it's not even American schooling, too, so that means that it's pretty dumb all over the
Yeah,
world,
it's
maybe.
the
I
Russian
don't know.
school model, man.
So, hey, Mr. Swedish Nigerian rapper Jesse, come on over to America and let's see you say that crap over here. You know what I mean?
Oh, he'd be welcome saying that.
Yeah, he probably would be. He'd hang
You know
around
he
a
would
bunch.
be.
He'd tell white people on the left to be like, hey, we think you should be our slaves,
Dude.
and we're going to kill you.
Beto would have him on stage saying, let's take white people's guns, and they'd have their hands up like they just won a boxing match or something.
So, I mean, that's one part of the racism. And then there's, like, you know, articles that come out like America's sweeping tide.
Who's
going
to call us Nazis for just saying that just now?
I don't. Who cares? I really don't.
Call us
freaking
white?
care.
I don't either because it's not true.
You know, we're already, you know, Google's delisting everybody everywhere. You know, you search for something on YouTube and it's all CNN and ABC and all the fake news. And you know what? That first off, fake news really ticks me off because it's not fake. They're actually saying it. It's really manipulative.
Very propagandized and directed and cloaked.
Yeah, and they choose certain topics and leave other ones out.
Yeah,
So, you know.
it's not real journalism, man.
But
not at all.
The nation's white population has only grown by 0.1% since 2010.
Birth rates are way down, buddy.
They're saying that nationally, Hispanics and Asian Americans are the fastest growing racial minority groups.
Makes sense to me.
They've increased by 18.6% and 27.4%, respectively, between 2010 and 2018. And they're also saying in this article that the black population is decreasing too.
Yeah.
So it's more the Asian and Mexican side of everything.
A lot of Asian people are coming to the States, man.
So is it because they keep having babies, or is it just they keep coming to the States?
I think it's both.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really
and you
care.
gotta think, here's the thing. Like, think if you're like some Asian dude that is coming from Tibet or something because it really sucks over there and you got a chance to bring your family to the U.S., say you're a young dude. Say you're a young dude with your woman and a little baby, and you end up in the U.S. and you're like in your early 20s or something. What are you gonna do when you get here to put your roots down?
You're gonna start getting to work and have babies and make a family.
You're gonna start having babies.
Well, who has a baby or plans a pregnancy when you're broke and you're working?
You don't. You do it after you get here.
Oh, but you get here, well, you're still broke.
Sometimes.
Unless you brought a bunch of money with you and you find a good job.
They get a lot of assistance and stuff too, man.
I mean, there's so many.
I'm talking about like a legal situation.
I'm just saying, there's a lot
of
people.
Broke people have kids all the time. Have you ever been to the hood?
No, never.
Freaking little kids running around all over the place.
Oh, I know, with diapers on, middle of busy roads and stuff. I've seen it.
Yeah, poor people have kids. Lots of them.
I'm just saying, why would you want to bring another life into a crappy life you already have?
Well, sometimes it just happens that way.
mean,
if they come here, this life's already way
it's
better than what they had.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Just coming here and even being on the streets way better than what they had down there.
Yeah, a lot of them probably came from war and stuff like that. But, you know,
severe economic or political turmoil.
I mean, okay, we are
no drinkable water. I mean,
yeah.
We're a melting pot, but it seems like prima nocte is happening.
There's a lot of immigrants from Flint, Michigan, to other parts of the nation.
Prima nocte. If you can't beat them, breed them out. That's what that is. You know?
Yeah, I understand that.
So
too. I don't think that's like a conscious effort, though. It's just we're just looking at a trend.
I don't know. I see some of the other races in this country that they're quick to point the finger at white people and say everybody's racist.
Well, that's all the rage these days.
Here's the problem.
What's the TV telling everybody?
They are the racist ones now.
I know.
That's what has happened.
Yeah.
And you can't blame a race. Most people in every race are normal human beings.
Yeah, they're logically inconsistent, man.
So you want to sit here and you want to bash whites all the time, and you know what's happening?
Preach about unity.
Yeah, and preach about
unity. You know what I mean?
Look, we didn't bring any slaves here. I never owned a slave. Have you guys owned a slave?
Nope.
No comment.
Yeah. So, what do you mean, no comment?
I mean, what kind? Okay.
He owned a sex slave.
Prostitution should be legal.
That's what he said all the time.
Oh, you like sex slaves?
Yeah. Liberate sex workers.
I mean, their keys on a keyboard, obviously.
I mean, here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Every single person in this country that isn't in the 0.0001% are slaves.
Right.
You're slaves some way or another.
You know why we have to fight? You know why the plebs got to scratch at each other about who's more oppressed? So we don't just look at who's oppressing all of us.
Right. That's exactly how it is.
There's millions and millions of people out there that think we're insane for saying that the pyramid has a top. I'm serious. It's for real. It's crazy.
Oh man! So with the AI stuff, the race stuff, I think I had an article around here somewhere. I can't find it.
Dude, you had a lot of stuff to dig into.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff sitting here right in front of me. But
like aliens. Get into what alien spaceships you seen.
Hey, what about some of those companies that were you going to read any of those off?
I
man?
did. I read like 3 or 4 of them. I wasn't going to go through it because
this is a list of a lot. If you really want to see it, it was passed on to me by a guy that is pretty active on Facebook. Man, he's pretty cool and all that, and he sent me a link to all those companies. I dropped it on the Bob and Bob Show page there.
Yeah, I saw that.
If you want to check it out. So
yeah, you guys can go check that out. There's a lot of companies. How many of them were there?
A lot, dude.
There's
I don't know.
lot, and they're all lobbying to get the gun legislation.
These are like holding companies. A lot of these corporations, you may not have ever heard of them. If you look it up, it's going to be like a holding company that owns this company, that company, and another kind of thing. Corporate conglomeration is crazy.
Yeah. Well, before we get into this UFO stuff, Chops, we were got to hit the gender bender situation here. And the BBC tells school children there are over 100 genders. So they have this little program and they have videos and they're teaching them about all these different genders and
There's
stuff.
100 genders?
There's not.
Yeah, there's definitely not.
I thought there's male and female.
There's.
I want to see.
There's 2 genders and 98 insanity speculations.
I want to see a list. I mean, gender is mostly a social construct, but I mean, some of this reaching is ridiculous. I want to see a list of all these genders, like specifically what they're called and what the parameters are to fit into these genders. I want to see that.
There's definitely going to be a mailbox.
I want to see the research that came to these conclusions before you teach it to my kids, because you're full of dirty brown diarrhea.
So, I mean,
and maybe even a little bit of gray and green too.
I think your mailbox gender might be in there.
Yeah,
too.
It's gotta be. There's 100 of them, man.
You claim it. I want to know if you're flag up or flag down mailbox.
Oh yeah, so you have variances of mailbox genders.
Yeah. Do you open from the back as well?
Are you a power bottom or?
How do you know?
Are you a power bot? I don't know the.
Do you
other
have your
option.
address on your box or is it on your leg?
All right.
Ooh.
So, I mean, the BBC, they are teaching this. They have this Teach video series. Teach. We're going to teach you about gender video series.
Teach me about my rights, too, would you?
Yeah. So this is where we get into the whole mainstream media. And I don't know, BBC,
don't let them
that
teach
is the UK broadcast, or British.
Yeah, it's BBC, man.
Yeah, so,
British Broadcasting
So
Corporation.
they're dumbed down and they're propagandized over there just as bad as we are, if not worse in some instances.
In some ways.
So
they're actually a good place to go for some things that you can't find in American media, but it goes both ways, man, because they're brainwashers, too.
Yeah, so
That's a gender as well.
The video for school children, age
Brainwash
9.
go both ways.
Listen to this. Age 9 to 12 years old is part of a 9 new BBC Teach film series that teaches about personal, social, and health education curriculum in UK schools. And, so what they're doing is they're literally poisoning kids' brains early on in life. And they're giving them a decision that you can be Cookie Monster, a mailbox, or a she-mail, or a Macy, or whatever.
You can, though.
I mean, no, you can't.
It's a negative right to claim that. But you can't put that on everybody. That's a violation. That is brainwashing.
It definitely is brainwashing, especially when you do it to children young. They're so susceptible to these things very early on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you hear BBC say it, or you hear any of these other, broadcasting agencies over here in the States saying the crap, man, you know that they are controlled, bought, paid for, do what they say.
They're planting
take
seeds
orders. Yeah.
where there were none.
Well, how do you, and we've talked about, how they're destabilizing everything across the globe, okay? But America is a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
We have guns. We think for ourselves.
Some of us.
Some of us anyway, But what better way to destroy our sovereignty and our education system and our way of life? But the best way to do it is just spin everybody's mind.
Yeah, of course.
Make them not know if they're a boy or a girl.
Make them stupid.
Make them not want weapons. We don't need them. Make sure they eat the GMO. Make sure they take the fluoride.
Manufacture things like plant seeds of racism and race baiting all over the place, so people fight over that.
Yeah, that's how you
race bait.
And then and now we're gonna get to the UFOs here before we close. The U.S. government is silently monitoring snake-like UFOs seen across the country. Now I know you've talked about these cigar-shaped ones.
Yes, that blow puffs of smoke behind them.
Chops, I've seen video of what you're talking about.
Yes,
yeah,
I've
I saw
seen
it too. I looked it up
over
right
top
when you
of the
told
house.
me. Yeah. So these ones are kind of similar, but they look like a snake or whatever. Going
I've
through
seen
the
that
sky.
too.
This one just looked like a.
We don't know
It
what
looked
any
like
of
an
this stuff
airplane without wings.
Yeah.
And then it just blew like a puff of smoke the same size.
Looked like a
of it.
submarine without that top thing on it in the sky.
Yeah.
Just kinda
Well, I checked out some different sites on this and some conspiracy sites for the UFOs. I checked out a few things through government websites and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And the sightings have been increasing the past few years, like more than ever.
Is that because there's more recording devices?
I mean, the past few years, there's been recording devices, past
I know, but
7-10 years that has been in everybody's hand.
But if you're an alien race that can come all the way here, wouldn't you disguise yourself as the same lights as an airplane has or be invisible?
Shape-shifting?
Why would you just be out in the open?
We're going to have to come back to this.
We'll come back to the UFO thing. Thank you for listening to the Bob and Bob Show.
Thank you.
Bob and Bob Show, take me to your leader. Hello.
You say Al-Qaeda makes you proud. Al-Qaeda makes you proud.
Obama.